Let's talk about security, because I think a lot of SMEs out there, as well as any corporate out there, when they talk about cloud, they get concerned about security. It's my personal data sitting somewhere in a data center. How do we address those security concerns for the customers, and what are the benefits associated with it?
I think security, it's been important in the past. It always has been, but if you think it's been important in the past, it's going to get dramatically more important in the future. And the reality nowadays is that a company's biggest asset is generally their information. It's their data. It's not their bank accounts. It's not their devices that sit on their desks. I mean, there's insurance and there's all kinds of stuff that covers that. Their most valuable asset is their data, their information. And if you're not securing your information, the risk nowadays is that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You will be hacked. You will have ransomware attacks. You will, your network will be compromised unless you have the right safeguards in place. And there's a lot of safeguards that we assist customers in making sure that they have in place.
Speaking of cloud services, let's discuss a little bit about email, because we see Microsoft has this massive drive about Office 365. You've got hosted Exchange with archiving solutions and that. For an SME or a small medium corporate, like, what would you recommend? Would you recommend them to look at Office 365 as an email solution?
Office 365 is a phenomenal platform. I mean, Microsoft know what they're doing. So, it is always important to understand what your needs are in terms of email and what your needs are in terms of the services attached to it. Because you can take just hosted Exchange itself, which is just email, and it's far more cost effective than doing an entire Office suite solution. But if your requirements are that you're constantly upgrading your Word and Excel and PowerPoint licenses for your business, Office 365 then really starts becoming very viable. So I think it's important to consider all the options that are cloud-based, but the reality is you typically want to go with the big providers in terms of cloud. Anyone can go and buy a little bit of hosting space and install some software and a backup and a generator and a UPS and say, we're delivering cloud services. But that small infrastructure and the expertise that manages it, there's a lot of risk in putting your most critical data in their hands. So we typically tend to lean towards the big providers, the likes of Microsoft and Sage, and the really big data centers that offer virtual environments in South Africa, because then you really are getting the best of breed technologies. And if you execute correctly on it, they can be as cheap, if not even cheaper, in honesty, than a lot of the fly-by-night businesses that are out there.